Jumping ahead to 1987, we have Prince of Darkness. I know nothing about this one. We have Donald Pleasance, I believe. Is that Donald Pleasance? Yes, it is. From Halloween. Fantastic actor. Fantastic character actor. And we also have Alice Cooper. Interesting. I don't recognize any of the other names. And I'm not even going to read the synopsis. The tagline just says, "It is evil. It has awakened." So, Prince of Darkness, I'm going to imagine it's pretty dark. But yeah, this is the Scream Factory / Shout Factory release. So I'm going to check it out. I think that they've recently re-released this, or there's been a 4K re-release or something, but I'm sure this will do just fine. This is the regular old collector's edition that was probably released a few years ago. Doesn't say on the back immediately what year that it came out, what year it was printed, but yeah, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. So on with the 8th movie, Prince of Darkness. So this will be the 3rd movie of day 3, and I'll definitely get to a 4th for the my brain isn't keeping up with my lips and my tongue. I'll definitely get to a 4th film tonight, which will kind of beat my record of yesterday. But I'd really like to get to 5. That'd be really good. So now that we're just looking at like 90-ish minute movies, then because Starman was like 2 hours again, so I think I should be able to get 2 more done tonight. So that'll be good. Anyway, enough waffling. I need to get off to the shop and get cracking with Prince of Darkness. So. Got myself some Volvic sugar-free watermelon water, which is super nice. Really like this drink. And now, without any further ado, on with Prince of Darkness. Really intrigued by this one because I really have heard no one say anything about it. I know nothing. That's exciting. One thing I want to mention is that I love that most of Carpenter's films have the same font in the opening credits. Like, I just really love that connective tissue between a lot of his films. It's almost like a comfort blanket, that font, you know? Alright, looks like some heavy stuff is happening. I should turn the camera off and stop talking, but the John Carpenter font, I like it a lot. Here we go. Very ominous intro there. Ominous intro. That's not like John Carpenter at all. / sarcasm. Yeah. Okay, I'm like 10 minutes into the film. I have put some dinner on. I'm cooking some chicken goujons again. There was a 2 for £3 deal, so I had another pack to put on. I got a salt and pepper pack and a southern fried pack, so I'm just cooking the southern fried chicken right now. And I'm really enjoying the beginning of this film. Obviously, it's way too early to tell, you know, even what the full story is going to be or if I'm going to fully enjoy it, but there's something about the score, man. I have to say, it's his music that is really drawing me into this already. We're just getting kind of vague scenes, and the way that it's set up visually, with kind of characters looking up to the sky, and you know, conversations going on, things like that. I mean, it's engaging already, but the music, as minimal as it is just such a great tool to drawing me into this story, even down to the editing of, you know, cutting to black and showing you like more of the cast list, and you know, crediting like the music and the production design, all that kind of stuff in between these little kind of scenes that are building up the beginning of this film is such a good, like, it gives you a little break. Like, you can look at like the, you know, music by John Carpenter and so on and so forth, and then you get back to the kind of build up. I don't know, I just really love the editing, the timing, the music, and the composition of the framing. Like, I'm just in love with this first 10 minutes of the film. I really just think John Carpenter was on a completely different level in the 1980s. Like, that to me just seemed to be like his, I mean, just thinking about all the other films that he did in the 80s that I love so much, of which I can now add to that list Starman and Christine, almost unparalleled. You know, he had a hell of a run in the 80s without taking this into consideration, and if this continues to hold up the same kind of quality, and if the payoff is as good as the intrigue is already at this point, then I'm really excited to see how this is going to pan out. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there because I'm really digging the vibe, the atmosphere that's being built up in this opening 10 minutes of the film. In fact, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about right here in this short little moment of the film.
He died before his appointment with the Cardinal, but he left a diary.
It's a plot intrigue.
You must help us.
Something urgent.
Please.
What will he say? Music, more credits, more time to think about that just a little bit. And then we're back to the movie. I love it. I just love the timing of that shit. I don't know, man. It's great.
Was never here before. It started a month ago.
What started?
A change in the earth and the sky. His power.
I don't get it. What don't you get? The whole thing, it doesn't make sense.
Is it future or is it past?
Oh wait, this is a John Carpenter marathon, not a David Lynch one. This is a clip recorded the day after. So I watched Prince of Darkness last night. You're about to see my thoughts on that as soon as I finished watching the movie. Well, actually not as soon as, because I started watching some special features as well, which you'll hear about in just a second. But I had to reference that throughout the entirety of the clip that I filmed for Prince of Darkness, some 15 minutes, I have a bit of chocolate on my lip. And it bugs me so much. Like, people might not have even noticed it, but I just had to reference that I saw it, I'm aware of it, in case anyone comments on it, and it bugs the shit out of me, and I almost feel like re-recording the whole thing, but it's my raw reaction, so I can't delete that. So I had a chocolate croissant, the Tesco down the road. After 7 o'clock, they reduce all their pastries to like 75% off, so I went and got a few things yesterday, and along with it a chocolate croissant, which I ate at the beginning of Prince of Darkness. So that bit of chocolate was sat on my lip for about 3-4 hours. Just abysmal, honestly. But there you go. So with that being said, on with my thoughts from last night of Prince of Darkness. Okay, it is 2 a.m. Yeah, 2 a.m. I kind of went down the rabbit hole on this one, Prince of Darkness. I actually watched like almost an hour of the film again with the commentary from John Carpenter. I watched the interview with John Carpenter that was produced for this release in 2013. And I'm knackered right now. And I'm actually getting hot. This blanket was useful when it was cold. Now it isn't. Prince of Darkness. Try and get a little bit alert here. So this film is about a secret basement in a church in LA that is discovered by a priest played by Donald Pleasance. He is given a key that was left with one of the old priests who died unexpectedly. And with this key, he goes down to the basement and finds this holy or unholy shrine. And it has this mysterious object at the end of the room. This tube with something swirling inside it. It's an ancient-looking device. And so he gets a friend of his, I forget his name, because it was a weird name, played by Victor Wong, I believe. He gets a friend of his who is a philosopher, I would say, a teacher of philosophy at a university, and he enlists all of his students and other departments from the university to come to the church for a weekend to basically study this device and also this ancient book that is thousands of years old and is written in many different languages, Latin, and has been written over and tried. The parts of it have been potentially tampered with to conceal its truths. So they have all sorts of quasi-experts. I mean, they're all students, but they're very smart and switched on. So we have Donald Pleasance and Victor Wong. They come to the church along with all of the students, and they try and figure out what this thing is. And it is an ancient evil. You can kind of guess where it's going. And that's it. That's the whole movie. Some of the students start getting possessed by this thing in the basement, and shit goes fairly south from there. I think this is one of my favorite horror films of all time. It's really difficult to unnerve me, to make me feel that sense of unease that is, surely the primary goal for any horror movie. Obviously, to scare the audience. I rarely get scared at anything, movie related, which I've said before and I'll say again, isn't a point of pride with me. It's just something that doesn't really, it's hard for me to kind of buy in so much. But this is a creepy fucking film. Like, there is some imagery in this. Even just the way it's been built up and the way you have like Donald Pleasance kind of acting his ass off to really sell the weight and gravitas of this, potentially I don't know, I can't remember really, because there's a lot of talk of Satan and anti-God and all this, the devil, whether it's meant to be the devil or the devil's son or, the father of Satan. I mean, they talk about the father and the son and the prince of darkness and all this, but regardless, this ancient evil is a really creepy and spooky idea. It's not one I buy into or believe in any way, shape, or form, but it's one that I can allow myself to believe in within the prism of this movie. And I think that it really got under my skin a little bit. And towards the end, there is this physical manifestation of the Prince of Darkness, which I thought was one of the creepiest things I've ever seen, and just beautifully done from a makeup point of view, because it was really fucking creepy. And it actually reminded me of the one thing I say is like the scariest thing I've seen in a film, and it's the old naked lady in The Shining. It almost reaches that level, only it's a physical presence that's in the movie a lot longer than in The Shining with the old naked lady, so it has more of a resonance for the whole movie. And there is a death towards the end of this film that I think is one of the most haunting and horrifying deaths I've ever seen. And it isn't a bloody death, it isn't a gory death. It is an absolutely horrific and filled with despair, and just a death that is just like unimaginable. I'd like to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I'd say it's the last major death of a character in the film, and it was just like the visual of it alone, the way that they set that up was impressive, but the idea of it and the way that was conveyed visually was just stunning, I thought. And I loved just the kind of claustrophobic nature of the setting of the majority of the movie. And, it recalls other films, even, Assault on Precinct 13, where you have all these people outside the building who won't let them leave, in the form of these homeless people who have been kind of entranced by this presence. Most notably Alice Cooper, who gets like a almost starring role on the front cover of the Blu-ray, and he's in the film probably for about 1 minute and 20 seconds. But it was fun to see him there. The only criticism I guess I could have is that some of the characters aren't as memorable as the others. There's a few in the group who aren't really developed. But do you really need that? I don't know. I enjoyed the performances very much, especially specifically from Victor Wong and of course Donald Pleasance, but I liked some of the other main characters as well. But really it was less about the characters and more about the evil within. And I loved how it was diving into like subatomic particles and kind of real scientific, the scientists there as well. And perhaps maybe even Victor Wong's character was more of a scientist than a philosopher. That might be more accurate. But like I was saying, like the way that the intro, the very long credit sequence plays out is just really intriguing, and like, well, where's this going? And I just love the reverence that Donald Pleasance was giving to a lot of this stuff. That was just building it up beautifully, and then you have these characters stuck in this building, and things start going really south, as I said, and I just thought it was so entertaining and really spooky and dread filled, absolutely dread filled. The recurring dream that everyone was having was like, grainy shot on video, but has a real, like, just spooky, like, I don't know, like rip your spine out of your body kind of, creepy. I don't know. I thought this was tremendously impressive as a horror film, and just goes to solidify, I think, one of the best director runs of all time was John Carpenter in the 80s. I mean, he did What the Fog, great film. Escape from New York, really, really good. The Thing, masterpiece. And now I can kind of fill in those gaps and go to something like Christine, which I think is phenomenal. Starman, which is beautiful. Big Trouble in Little China, which is just one of the wackiest, most enjoyable films ever made. And then this, which I think is just like... I think this might even be a better horror film than The Thing. I honestly, I prefer The Thing vastly, but I think as a horror film that really unsettles me, this might take the John Carpenter at least top spot. I don't know. The Thing is great and so impressive, and the paranoia and everything, but as far as actual, like, evil, I don't know. It really captured something here. I don't know, man. I love this film. I really did. Great stuff. Great stuff. And then moving on, I think after that was They Live, which is another fantastic film. So, yeah, I really wasn't expecting this. I'm going to call it a night now, I have to say. I could watch another film, which means we'll roll on to day 4 and probably day 5 too. I think it is going to be the longest 24-hour movie marathon I've ever done. The record is Marathon 2 in 2013, which was 4 days long. So, yeah. But I'm kind of happy to do it, I think, because Christine, Starman, and Prince of Darkness, which I just dropped because I'm so tired, I would say are 3 films I would all give, a 5 out of 5 rating. Not to say they're masterpieces or perfect, but films that, in very different ways. Christine, Starman, Prince of Darkness, 3 very different films that I loved for very different reasons, and just, loved everything about them. Didn't really have anything negative to say about them, and there's some great shots in this as well. The cinematography, the effects, it's deceivingly simple stuff like the water that's dripping upwards to the ceiling, and the hands going through the glass. Like, that's when I would, like, the last 10 minutes, I was just like, I was literally like watching some of that stuff. This is what fucking movies are all about to me, man. It's watching films like this and getting so fucking jazzed up about them. Fucking love it. Alright, so I'm going to leave it there and just completely let go of the fact that this is running over as far as the amount of days I want to do it. It's all good. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films and 1 episode of television left. I'll be picking things up tomorrow with movie number 9, I believe. We're now moving into the 90s, unfortunately. But this one should be interesting. Memoirs of an Invisible Man, starring Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one for sure. But I'm not going to really think about that too much right now. I'm going to just revel in the 3 incredible films I watched today. Nothing's going to top today for this marathon. Nothing. There's no chance that there's going to be, 3 back-to-back movies that I'd never seen before that I ended up completely loving. Then I would say this is probably the best 3-movie run of any 24-hour movie marathon, unless I can think of something that I've forgotten of something in the previous year. One very happy movie fan right here. So, yeah, that's it for now. Good night. The score, Carpenter score, just again minimal but kind of just pounding and kind of rhythmic and unsettling, just perfectly set the stage for everything. And in the interview on the Blu-ray, he was saying that he really wanted to go back to a low budget style after doing Starman, after doing like the kind of studio films he was getting a little bit disillusioned with, which kind of makes an interesting kind of arc from Someone's Watching Me, where he apparently really enjoyed working with like a union crew and everything, and liked the studio system a little bit. And then, flash forward almost 10 years later, he's getting a bit sick of it, and he wanted to do something like this, which was a bit more low budget, where he had complete creative control. And actually, this is credited, written by Martin Quatermass, or Quatermass. Regardless, that is a fictional name. Carpenter wrote this film himself, but gave himself a pen name for whatever reason. So this is one of those kind of, again, JC originals, wrote, directed, did the music for. Awesome. I'm going to leave it there. Again, I was about to say thanks for watching. It ain't the end yet, not by a long shot, but we are more than halfway through, so that's good. I'm going to go to bed now, and that's a reason I definitely could have pushed on and done this one, but throughout Prince of Darkness, the characters I'm going to have some sleep. They've set beds up in the church, and they're constantly talking about wanting to go to sleep, and there's the dreams, and so I was just like, I wasn't falling asleep or getting tired, but I was just like, oh, I can't wait for bed. So the plan is go to bed now, try and get up a little bit earlier tomorrow, and just jump right in with the next film. So hopefully I'll get in earlier tomorrow and at least get 4 films done, and that way I'll be ready for a light 5th day. All right. It's good night for now.